For this tutorial, I have my ruler, my pencil, my scissors, my tape, the fabric, a matching thread, and my chalk with my zip. Jumpsuits are basically a trouser that is attached to the top. So first I'll be drafting the trouser, and to draft the trouser I'm using this Duchess fabric. So I checked out the side that is stretchy and I folded it into two. First off, I'll be marking the full length of this jumpsuit, which is at 45, coming down by 9 inches, which is my hip point, coming down by 2 inches to get my clutch point, and coming down by 1.5 inches to get my thigh point. I went ahead to draw a line across those points. Yeah, this is the hip point, this is the clutch, and this is the thigh point. So now the next thing I'll be doing is that on this hip point I'll be placing my hip measurement divided by 4 plus half an inch, and that's going to give me 11 inches. For some reason my camera was shifting, but yeah, you guys, let's continue. So I marked at 11 inches. I'll be marking that same 11 inches on the waist point, and I'll be joining it all the way down to clutch. On the clutch point, from that hip measurement I'm going to be coming out by 2.5, and I'll be making a curve towards the waist like so. The next thing I'll be doing is to place my thigh circumference divided by 2 plus half an inch on this thigh point, and I'll be drawing the curve like so. From that straight line I'll be placing my waist measurement divided by 4, and I'll be making the curve towards the hip point, dragging the line from the thigh point all the way down. Is a palazzo pants. Now after cutting that out, this is what I have. I went ahead to fold my fabric into two again and placed my front pieces on the fabric I'll be using to cut my back pieces. On this clutch point I'm just going to come out by 2.5 inches, and all the way to the full length of this trouser I'll be coming out by 2 inches. This is what I have. Now let's work on the waist point. I came out by 2 inches by the side, and I went up by 1.5 inch. You can go up by even 2 inches depending on how much butt you have, or even 2.5. So I went ahead to make a slant from that point to the waist of the front pieces, and this is what I have. Now I'm going to be tracing out the other side of the front pieces, and I will be cutting it out, and that's all the adjustments for the back pieces of this trouser. Notice that it was only one side that I adjusted, so I just added 2.5 inches to the clutch area, 2 inches to every other part, came up by 1.5 inches, and that is all. Now this is what I have after cutting out the front and the back pieces of the trouser part. Now we're going to be cutting out the top, and for the top I'll be using this drafting paper because the Cowlneck something. So yeah, I went ahead to mark out my starting point, and on that starting point I placed my tape and I marked my chest line at 7.5, bust point at 9, under bust at 12, and waist point at 16, and I went ahead to draw my line across like so. Next thing I'll be doing is to mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2 on the starting point, and also on the chest line, just so I have a straight line coming from that point. The next thing I'll be doing is to mark out my neck measurement, and that is 3 inches in, 1 inches down, because this is the back part. And then on this shoulder line I went down by 1 inch to get my shoulder slope, and that is all for that. Now for the armhole, I'm going to be dividing the rest of the line by 2 to get the midpoint. On that midpoint I came in by half an inch, and I'll be making a curve to join the shoulder slope, the midpoint, and the chest line, and that is my armhole curve. The next thing I'll be doing is to mark out my dart, and for the dart I'll be marking my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 on the waist and on the chest line, and I'll be joining that with a straight line. Now on this waist point I'll be coming out on both sides by half an inch, and this is what I have, and I'll be making a slant line from the waist all the way up to the chest line. Now I'll be placing my measurements, my bust round divided by 4, replacing the dart and adding my stitching allowance. On the waist as well, I marked my waist round divided by 4, replaced the dart and marked allowance, and this is what I have after drafting the back piece. I'm going to go ahead and cut out this piece, and after cutting it out, this is what I have. Because this back piece is going to be having a zipper, I went ahead to adjust the waist so it doesn't have a bulge at the back, and to do that I just went in on the waist by half an inch, and I made a slant line all the way to the chest area like so, and I folded it out. I also went ahead to fold out my dart because I don't want the dart to be showing at the back. Now to cut it on my fabric, because it's going to have a zipper, I'm just going to place it on my fabric like so, and I'm going to be adding my zipper allowance on the fabric. I didn't add the zipper allowance while cutting the pattern because I'll also be using these pieces to cut the front piece, you get it. So I went ahead to add 1.5 from the neck point to the waist point like so, and that is what I'll be cutting. So after cutting it out, this is what I have. The next thing I'll be doing now is to cut my front piece, and to cut the front piece I'm going to be opening up this pattern paper. Because I want it to have multiple folds, I'll be marking from the shoulder point, coming down by 4, coming down by 2 inches, and coming down by another 2 inches. I decided to draw my line across, and at this point I decided I don't want to be showing any breast, so I'm removing the last point that I marked and replacing it on the chest line just to show a little bit of cleavage without going that deep. I decided to slash open that line. This method I'm using is the slash and spread method, so I'm going to go ahead and slash open these lines. After slashing open these lines, I'm going to get a fresh pattern paper and I'll be placing the pattern on it like so, and I'll be taping it down. So what you want to do is to open up from that point to slash, open up, get it. Depending on how busy you want it to be, you can go ahead and open it very much more than what I just did. Cutting it out, this is what I have. I'm going to be cutting this on the fabric. I folded my fabric into 2, placed my pattern paper and cut it out. Notice in the front I did not add that zipper allowance, I added back. So yes, this is what I have. As you can see, it's already coming together. I went ahead to cut the facing for both the front pieces. Because this jumpsuit doesn't have any sleeve, you want your facing to start just below the armhole cuff, so you can use it to turn that area. I also went ahead to cut facing for the back piece, making sure that the facing starts about 2 inches below the armhole, so we can also use it to turn the armhole area. And after cutting that out, this is what I have. I'm going to start stitching. Now I have my front, back, and my trouser. I went ahead to cut out pockets for the trouser, so we are going to start stitching. The first thing I want to do is to fix the pocket, and to fix the pocket of these trousers, the first thing I'll be doing is to place my pocket on the shaping side of this trouser like so. Are you seeing? After placing the pocket, I'm going to use my tape and measure from the waist to 0.7, and I'll be marking that point like so. I'm going to be taking this to my machine and I'll be stitching from the waist to that point where I marked, and I'll be flipping it over and top stitching it. I will do it for both the right part and the left part of this front piece, and after doing that, this is what I have. You can see the point where I top stitched it. So yes, I'm going to be flipping that over like so, and I'll be folding the pocket and I'll be stitching this part. Notice that at this part, when I folded it in, I still have excesses there, and that is what we'll be using to join this part of the trouser to the back. And then to this other end of the pocket, I will just stitch it to the main fabric like so, so that it's lying nice and straight. I'm going to also go ahead and stitch close this pocket like so. Remember that whatever you do for this leg of the trouser, you'll be doing it for the other leg. After fixing the pocket, this is what I have. You can see it's lying nice and straight. Now I'm going to be placing the 2 front pieces together, and I'll be taking it to my sewing machine, and I'll be stitching along this clutch area like so with about half an inch. The next pieces I'll be working on is the top part of these front pieces, and what I did is to place the facing on the main fabric like so, front side facing each other, and I'm going to be taking it to the machine and I'll be stitching along the armhole, leaving out the shoulder area and stitching along the neckline like so. So after stitching, this is what I have. I'm going to go ahead and trim out the excesses. Remember to leave the shoulder part open because you'll be joining the shoulder to the back. So I went ahead to trim out the excesses. I notched my fabric and flipped it over. When I flip it over to the front side, this is what I have. Okay, so you see the shoulder area is open, and I'm just going to quickly trim out that part, and I will be stitching that way. As you can see, our cowl neck coming together. Next thing I'll be doing is to join this front piece to the front piece of the trousers. Place it front side facing each other like so, and I'll be stitching it along this part with about 1 inch. After doing that, the next piece I'll be working on is the back piece, and for this back piece I'm going to do just what I did for the front. I'll be placing the pieces like so, and I will be placing the facing front side facing each other like so. I will be taking it to my machine and I'll be stitching the armhole, the neck area, leaving the zipper part and the shoulder area. After stitching in, this is what I have. I'm going to go ahead and trim out the excesses and notch all the curves like so. And after doing that, I'm going to flip it to the right side, and when you flip it to the right side, this is what I have. I'm going to go ahead to top stitch the shoulder area and the zipper area. The next piece I'll be working on is the back piece of these trousers, and I want this back piece to have a dart. Okay, the first thing I'll be doing is to get the midpoint of this waist area, and I'll be marking it out, and from that midpoint I'll be coming down by 4 inches. On the waist point point, I'm going to come out by 1/2 inch to both sides, and I will be marking that out. I'll be repeating the same thing for the other part of the trouser. After taking out my dart for this trouser, this is what I have for the back piece. The next thing I will be doing now is to attach the back piece of the top of this trouser. The next thing I'll be doing is to fix the zipper allowance for the back piece, and to do that I'll be placing the two pieces like so, and I'll be marking where my zipper is supposed to stop, which is here. I simply just place my zipper on it to measure it out like so. So this is where my zipper is going to be stopping. And remember that when you are taking out your zipper allowance, you make sure you take out all the allowance, and after doing that, this is what I have. The next thing I'll be doing is to attach the front piece to the back piece, and to do that I'm going to be placing the front piece of this jumpsuit to the back piece like so, making sure that the shoulders are placed together. I'm also going to be placing the armhole part, and I will be sewing the shaping side all the way to the full length, sewing down the shaping side and showing the shoulder. The next thing I'm going to do is to open up this clutch area, and I'll be placing the front side and the back side together, making sure that those midpoints are touching each other, and I'm going to be pinning it down. I'm going to take this jumpsuit to my machine, and I will be stitching about 1/2 inch, starting from that clutch area all the way to the full length of the jumpsuit like so. I'll also be hemming the pants, and after doing that, this is what I have. I have my full beautiful jumpsuit looking all nice and cute. Hope this tutorial was able to help you. If it did, let me know in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Let's grow this community together. Let me know any questions you have in the comment section, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.